My back was killing me and I couldn't even scrounge up $20. So, I bit the bullet and texted each of my 3 sons, asking if they could spot me $10 so I could buy some pain meds. What I didn't see coming was how completely out of control things would get once their wives got wind of it. Trisha, my oldest daughter-in-law, burst in first, practically spitting fire. She was like a roaring lioness, launching into a torrent of curses that left me no dignity whatsoever. Rachel, my second daughter-in-law, was right on her heels, pointing her finger at me and screaming about how I played favorites, how her husband Daniel shouldn't have to shell out $10 for me. And Nicole, my youngest daughter-in-law, was the most dramatic, collapsing on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably and threatening to divorce Jason. My heart sank. Every month I gave them my entire $2,000 pension, split evenly among them as a childcare subsidy. Not to mention I took turns watching their kids every day, cleaning their houses and cooking for them. At night I'd drag my aching back to the Santa Ana night market to sell snacks from my food cart. And every single cent I earned from that cart I gave away without a second thought. But this time I'd truly had enough. I sat on the old wooden chair in the kitchen, gently touching my lower back, a quiet resolve hardening in my heart. I was leaving. I'd already looked up train schedules and booked a ticket for 3 days from now, bound for Pineberry. It was the small town where I'd lived when I was young, the only place I could truly call home. Just as I was mentally preparing for my departure, Trisha stormed back into my little house. She practically shoved her face in mine, shrieking, "What kind of game are you playing now? Asking your son for $10. Are you trying to play the pitiful victim again? I just don't get it. Do you really not even have that much money?" Her voice dripped with sarcasm and fury. "Don't think I don't know your game. You clearly favor Daniel and Jason. You talk about equality to my face, but behind my back you're just bleeding us dry. Do we owe you something?" Mark, standing nearby, tried to smooth things over. "Trish, calm down. It's just $10. What's wrong with me giving my mom $10? But that just poured gasoline on the fire. Trisha grabbed the fruit bowl off the coffee table and slammed it onto the floor. The bowl shattered into pieces and oranges scattered everywhere. She pointed at one of the oranges, seething, "Do you know how expensive these oranges are? The grocery store sells them for $6.99 a pound. She can afford oranges like this, but she's pretending she doesn't have $10. Her eyes bulged. "Are you trying to mock me? Do you think I don't treat you well, so you're pulling this stunt? You give Daniel and Jason $1,000 every month, but when it comes to me you're suddenly so stingy. Is it because I'm easy to bully?" With that, she completely lost control, grabbing a nearby chair and smashing it against the coffee table, the TV and the side cabinet. The sound of shattering glass mingled with her furious shouts, echoing through the house. "You're humiliating me, so I'm going to make sure this house isn't peaceful either." Mark muttered, "Jesus," under his breath, then turned his anger on me. "Mom, why do you have to ask us for money? You know how she is. Aren't you just trying to stir up trouble?" I quickly explained, "My friend gave me that orange. I was actually planning to cut it into pieces so all of you kids could try some." I thought that would calm Trisha down, but she just gave a sarcastic laugh. "Don't lie to me. Don't think I don't know how much money you have." I was about to explain that I genuinely didn't even have money for medicine, and my back hurt so much I could barely stand up straight. Just then Rachel and Nicole burst in, not even bothering to knock, and started arguing before they could even get a clear sentence out. Rachel suddenly stood up, pointing her finger inches from my nose and yelling, "Do you think you can just do whatever you want because you're old? Ever since I married into this family, it's been nothing but bad luck. Are you really going to bring up old grudges over $10? You either favor Mark or you spoil Jason. Do you have any idea how much I've suffered in this family?" Her voice was shrill and piercing, filled with years of pent-up resentment. "Grace, let me tell you something clearly. After treating me like this today when you're old and dying in bed, I won't even come back to look at you. It's probably just my bad luck that I ended up with a mother-in-law like you." Nicole cried and yelled, her voice a mix of hurt and anger. "Mom, tell me, when have you ever considered our family? Just because my husband is the youngest, he's not loved, and everyone in this family looks down on me. You add meat to the soup for their kids, but when it comes to our house there's just broth left." She angrily flung her bag and walked toward the door. "I've had enough. I'm going back to my mom's. Whoever wants to stay in this family can stay." Jason frantically chased after her, muttering, Don't be like this, don't get upset, let's talk about it back home. Daniel quickly pulled Rachel into a hug, whispering comforting words. I know you're hurting, I'm sorry I didn't handle this well, I'm truly sorry. Watching this scene unfold, my heart felt like it was being squeezed. Since they were little, I'd always told my 3 sons to respect women, to cherish and protect their wives once they married, and not to end up like their father. My own marriage had long ago crumbled to dust. He had other women while I propped up the entire household alone, living like a ghost. He never once asked if I was okay, and I didn't want my sons to turn out that way. But everything unfolding before me made it clear, they weren't much better. Not completely cold-blooded like their dad, but certainly not genuinely considerate. I'd held this family together for decades, and now I was seen as an ATM aunt rather than a mother. Rachel and Nicole slammed out the door, leaving the living room a wreck. I stood there looking at the shattered glass, overturned chairs and spilled juice, and suddenly the house felt colder than midnight. I always thought I was a good enough mother-in-law. I'd taken care of all 3 families' grandchildren, doing their laundry, cooking, school pickups, and working the night market to earn money. I did it all. I gave them all the money I earned, even topping it off with my monthly Social Security payments as subsidies. I even paid the down payments for their houses. The 3 houses were on the same street, identical layouts, all arranged by me. Every day I was like an hourly worker, cleaning for Rachel in the morning, picking up kids from Nicole's in the afternoon, then pushing my food cart to the night market at 8 p.m. to sell corn tortillas, working until 1 or 2 in the morning before coming home and getting less than 4 hours of sleep. For decades I'd lived like a spinning top, never daring to stop. That night I sat in the dark corner of my bedroom checking train tickets on my phone. I booked one for 3 days later. Destination Pineberry, a quiet, clean and unfamiliar town where I'd worked as a waitress when I was young. The next morning my phone blew up. All 3 sons called, none of them asking about my health. Mom, why didn't you take Elliot to school? Rachel had a fight with her boss today, saying you made her late. Mom, Sophie was late today and I missed my company's morning meeting. This is really inconvenient. Mom, please don't throw a tantrum. If we want the family to be well, the most important thing is for you to keep doing what you're supposed to do. We all need to cooperate, right? As I listened, I still held on to hope that just one of them would ask how I was. But there was nothing. So I could only try to explain. My back has been hurting terribly these past few days. The doctor told me to rest in bed for a few months. Otherwise, it could develop into chronic nerve compression, which would be a real problem. Mark on the other end of the phone chuckled softly, his voice cold. Mom, who doesn't have a backache these days? Don't scare yourself. Just take some medicine and you'll be fine. But ironically, just last month he'd spent over $200 on an imported back brace for Trisha's mom. For her, spending money was filial piety. For me, it was faking an illness. Daniel's tone was flat, not even bothering to give me a glance. Mom, haven't you already put on pain patches? Those things just get better in a few days naturally. And watching a kid isn't a big deal, is it? Jason didn't even care about my pain. He frowned, then leaned in closer and said, Mom, how much money do you have left? Transfer it all to me first, I'm short on cash. At that moment, the flicker of hope in my heart was extinguished completely, like a candle blown out by the cold wind outside the window. That night the pain was so severe I couldn't even turn over. I just lay flat on the bed sweating. The door gently opened and Emily quietly walked in, my oldest son's daughter, Trisha's child, 9 years old, and I'd been taking care of her since she was a baby. She walked to the bedside, her small hand gently placed on my wrist. Grandma, Mom was really upset today because you didn't go to the night market. She said it was her day to collect the money, and since you didn't set up the stall, she lost a night's worth of cash. I sighed, my voice barely a whisper. Grandma's back hurts too much today, I can't walk, I can't go out. Emily bit her lip, looking down and fiddling with the hem of her clothes, whispering, I told her you weren't feeling well, but she still insisted. This month has 31 days, and for the past 2 months Aunt Rachel and Aunt Nicole each got an extra night's money. Now she says it has to be her turn to make it up. In that moment, it was as if someone had heavily pressed me into reality. I had run that stall for 30 years through wind and sun, never missing a day. With that little food cart, I had saved enough money to buy each of my 3 sons their own houses. But after they all got married, Trisha was the first to get an idea. She said her family urgently needed money and asked if I could front a few nights' stall income to tide them over. I agreed without thinking twice. But I worried Rachel and Nicole would misunderstand, so I simply let them take turns too. Everyone got 10 days worth of income per month. I naively thought that by dividing it equally I would earn their understanding. And the result? They were each smarter than the last, even creating a spreadsheet. Who had taken money on what day, who had missed a night last time, who had taken 2 extra hours this month. They remembered every detail clearly. Mom, you've done so much for us. We'll definitely treat you like our own mother and show you filial respect. They had said that once. And I actually believed them. But the reality was, the more I gave, the deeper their demands became. If only this month had 30 days, Emily mumbled softly. Mom wouldn't be so angry. Just then Trisha burst into the room like a whirlwind. The moment she saw me still lying down, her face instantly turned darker than the night. She pointed at me unceremoniously, yelling, "Grace, what exactly do you want?" I stared at the ceiling, my voice cold. "I don't want anything." She fired off questions like a machine gun. "Didn't you say you treat all 3 daughters-in-law equally? Then what is this? Today is my turn for the income and you're lying in bed saying your back hurts and you can't go to the market? You go sell for Daniel and Jason even when you're tired, but when it's my turn you claim to be sick? Is that fair?" Her voice grew sharper and sharper, her finger practically poking my face. "Grace, I'm telling you, if you don't go to the market today, don't expect us to take care of you in the future. Don't even think about finding someone from our family for your old age." I slowly shifted my body, gritting my teeth through the pain, and managed to sit up halfway, looking at her face. "Rely on you all? I can't rely on you now, so you expect me to in the future? Don't even dream about it." Trisha clearly hadn't expected me to talk back like that. She jumped up like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, her voice hitting its highest pitch. "Fine, you're finally showing your true colors. You want to give all your money to Daniel and them now? Don't dream about it. You want to cut ties? I'll grant you that. Let's cut ties, we can even sign a written agreement." I looked at her, my voice as calm as water spilled on the floor. "Then let's cut ties. You say how you want to do it. If you want to sign a document or write a statement, I'm fine with it." Trisha froze on the spot as if I had slapped her unexpectedly. Then her mood suddenly took a turn. Tears came rushing down, pouring down her face, and she sobbed as if she had suffered the greatest injustice. "Oh God, what did I do to deserve this? To have such a biased mother-in-law, what's the point of living? I can't live like this, I'm divorcing Mark, divorcing him today." This wasn't the first time. Whenever Mark and I displeased her even slightly, she'd pull out the divorce card to pressure me. That night Mark burst in fuming and stood at my bedroom doorway yelling, "Mom, what on earth are you trying to do? Trisha has trashed the house like a war zone, dishes shattered everywhere. Can't you just go comfort her? It's just a matter of apologizing. Do you have to make such a big deal out of it?" I lay still on the bed as if this house had nothing to do with me. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, his anger flared up. "Are you just going to sit there calmly and watch your family fall apart? Are you satisfied with this?" With that, he slammed the door shut, the loud bang echoing through the entire house. The next morning I went to the only person I could trust, my friend Lorraine Moss. We'd been selling food together at the Santa Ana night market for almost 2 decades, from working for others to becoming partners. She had always been my best friend. I told her I wanted to move back to Pineberry. The problem was I had no savings whatsoever. The money I'd earned over the years had been taken by my 3 daughters-in-law for various reasons. My only way out was to sell the old house I was living in. It was a single-story ranch house built in the 1980s, with 3 bedrooms, 1 living room and a small yard with tomatoes and mint. I'd bought it when the kids were young using my night market income. I'd purchased it with a mortgage which had long since been paid off. Nowadays, house prices in this area had soared, with new developments starting at $500,000. Although my old house was older, it had a good location and decent surrounding school districts. Coincidentally, Lorraine's niece was looking for a house. Her and her husband's budget wasn't high enough to buy a new home, and they were struggling. I offered them a sincere price, $150,000. Far below market value but enough for me to start fresh. That afternoon they came to see the house. Although it was an older house, I had always kept it very clean. The roof had just been redone and the plumbing and electrical systems had also been repaired by professionals. Lorraine patted her chest and guaranteed, "You'll definitely get a bargain with this house. It's just 2 blocks from the main street, a 5-minute walk to the subway station. The location is fantastic." They immediately agreed. After all, mortgages were tough to get these days and a move-in-ready house was rare. That afternoon we signed the transfer agreement. I opened a checking account and the house payment was deposited immediately, $150,000 sitting quietly on that new card. I treated Lorraine to a plate of barbecue ribs and her eyes welled up as she ate. I knew she was going to miss me. We were each other's only reliable women in this city. Her home life wasn't easy either. Both her daughters-in-law were difficult, constantly bringing up old grievances and accusing her of playing favorites. She cut her steak, then took my hand and said, "Being a mom is really hard. No matter what you do, it's always wrong." I nodded, saying no more. She was right. No matter how much of your heart and soul you poured into it, in the end you were just that unfair mom. So this time I decided to completely pull away and just be myself. That evening I packed my suitcase. There wasn't much to it, just a few old clothes and some important documents. I planned to take the long-distance bus to Pineberry early the next morning. But just before I went to bed, the doorbell rang. Soon Rachel arrived, then Trisha and finally Nicole. They each sat on my living room sofa, their faces etched with awkward, strained smiles, all holding back what they wanted to say. Rachel was the first to speak, her tone none too polite. "What exactly are you planning to do? Just completely let loose? You didn't set up the stall yesterday and you've been lying around all day today, not even watching the kids. Didn't you say your back hurt? But you seem to be walking just fine. Why haven't you seen a doctor? Or are you just faking it?" Daniel's face was stern, as if he were interrogating me. "Mom, this really isn't good. We're family. Even if there are disagreements, you shouldn't take it out on the kids. The stall isn't open, no one's watching the children. You're being so willful, it's not like you." Trisha gave a sarcastic laugh. "Do you feel like you're living a quiet life now? But don't forget, you're not getting any younger. When you get sick or have an accident in the future, won't it still be us who have to take care of you? You've quit today, what will you do tomorrow?" Trisha sneered, her tone carrying her usual sarcasm. "Are you enjoying flexing your muscles right now? Just openly saying you want to cut ties. Do you think you can still walk around now and someone will still take care of you when you're paralyzed in bed? Some people just live without knowing their place." Nicole, not to be outdone, crossed her arms, her face a mix of aggrieved indignation. "I was late for work today. No matter how unhappy you are, these grandkids are yours too, right? What do you mean by just washing your hands of them? Are you trying to cut ties or just seeking attention?" I answered her coldly, my voice flat. "Since they are also your children, let their fathers take care of them. I'm just their grandmother. Why should I be responsible?" At that, Trisha's eyes turned red with anger. She sprang up, waving her finger wildly in front of me. "You really dare say that? You, a grandmother, saying something like that? Are you even fit to be our children's grandmother? You're clearly saying you don't want to bother anymore, right?" I looked up, meeting her gaze, and replied word for word, "That's right, I don't want to bother anymore. I've done my best my entire life just to raise my own children. Your own children, you figure it out. Don't threaten me with family. Real family doesn't do this kind of thing. You've taken enough from me. From today on, no one is getting anything else from me." After I finished speaking, the room instantly fell silent. Trisha's mouth hung open, unable to retort. Rachel raised an eyebrow, saying nothing. Nicole rolled her eyes in disdain. Their 3 husbands, my 3 sons, also sat there as if they'd been struck dumb, not a sound from any of them. I knew they hadn't expected me to erupt. In that moment I finally said what had been weighing on my heart for years. The old me would tolerate everything, do everything, never dare to talk back, tirelessly living like a tool. But today I'd had enough. Rachel was the first to break the silence, a cold smile on her face. "Grace, are you really sure about this? If you're truly going to burn bridges, then don't expect us to help you one bit in the future." Nicole added fuel to the fire. "I think you're just so ungrateful. Do you really think your $1,000 a month subsidy makes you a sugar mommy?" Jason's voice began to harden. "Mom, that's enough, stop making a scene. You've rested long enough today. Starting tomorrow you go to the market and you watch the kids." Nicole directly grabbed Jason's sleeve, yelling at him, Let me tell you clearly, if she keeps acting up and not working, I'm not staying in this marriage. Without the elders' support, this marriage will fall apart. I can live better without you." Jason quickly tried to calm her down. All right, don't be angry, she won't really abandon us." Mark and Daniel also quickly urged me, "Mom, don't be impulsive. The family still relies on you. The kids need you and the stall needs you. Let's just move past this little disagreement." But my heart was utterly dead. I closed my eyes, not wanting to say another word to them. My decision was made. Tomorrow I would leave this city and these people. At 5 in the morning, I slung my old travel bag, a faithful companion for over a decade, over my shoulder. Inside were just a few changes of clothes and a pair of worn-out shoes. I took a taxi to the station. Once on the bus, I didn't look back. Outside the window, the city lights receded rapidly, much like my life, left behind by time, unable to grasp onto anything. Soon after the bus started, a young girl sitting next to me smiled and offered me a piece of bread. "Ma'am, you look a little tired. Here, have this." Her smile was pure and genuine, just like how my 3 daughters-in-law had smiled at me when I first met them. Back then, they had looked at me with such tenderness, saying, "We'll be family now." But tenderness has an expiration date. The closeness we once shared had been slowly eroded by reality. Time moved forward, but people drifted further and further apart. I took the bread, softly saying, "Thank you." On the ride, the young girl next to me enthusiastically chatted about popular live streaming platforms. I wasn't particularly interested, but looking at her bright face, I suddenly realized, my own children had never shared their world with me like this. 10 hours later, I finally arrived back in Pineberry. Today's American society is dominated by towering buildings and rapid expansion, but this small town on the edge of Oregon still retained a quiet desolation. The air here was filled with the scent of pine and earth, crisp and silent, yet it also sent a chill down my spine. I had been gone for over 2 decades. Almost none of the young people in town recognized me. Only a few white-haired, slow-moving elders still managed to call out my youthful name. The old wooden house I once lived in had half collapsed, the yard overgrown with weeds, and the windows were just precarious, empty frames. The mayor, Hawkins, was a kind old man. Hearing I was back, he suggested I temporarily stay in the staff dormitory behind the town hall. Without much thought, I withdrew $20,000 in cash from my new account and gave it to him to hire someone to build a simple cottage, entrusting him with the construction and procurement. In the days I waited for the house to be built, I reopened my phone. Dozens of voicemails and texts, all from my 3 sons and their wives. They had added me to a family group chat titled, "All for Mom," but every message felt like an accusation. "Mom, are you crazy? You sold the house without telling us. The police said you left the state. Why are you going to Pineberry? Who even knows you there? What do you mean by just ditching everything here? Now Sophie's late for school every day and getting called out by her teacher, and I'm late too. Do you know how embarrassing that is for me? Can't you just come back and take care of the kids? Do you really have to force us to quit our jobs? Our family is already stretched thin and you just ran off and left everything? You're the most irresponsible mother I've ever seen. Are you planning to completely cut ties with us?" I looked at their words, my fingers unhesitatingly typing a single sentence. "From now on, our relationship is over. I will be deleting your contact information. Please do not contact me again." After sending it, I removed and blocked each of them from my phone cleanly and decisively. It was time to live for myself. I spent a few days marking out 2 plots of land on Pineberry's north slope, one for growing grains and the other to create my own garden. I had loved flowers when I was young, but back then I couldn't afford to spend money on them. Being a mother always meant putting myself last. Now I could finally unleash the passion that had been suppressed for decades. I hired a small construction crew from town, and they built a red brick house with a front porch in less than a month. I planted corn and green beans behind the house, and I personally tilled the soil in the front yard, planting roses, morning glories, and lavender. Those first few days after moving in, I still felt an emptiness. But I knew I couldn't let it consume me. So, I bought a used camcorder in town and daily filmed snippets of myself planting flowers, harvesting vegetables, cooking, and maintaining the yard. In the evenings, I'd edit the footage and upload it to a video sharing website, naming it Granny Grace's Garden. It was just meant to pass the time, but slowly I started gaining followers. From a few hundred to a few thousand, then surpassing 30,000. Some commented that I was their ideal grandmother, some asked me for gardening tips, and others wanted me to teach them how to make stews. I also kept busy sewing aprons, placemats, and even vintage-style dresses by hand. There was a second-hand shop in town that happened to have a Singer sewing machine. I bought it, cleaned it for 3 days and nights, and incredibly it worked. After sewing so much, people even started asking me for custom orders. I uploaded videos of this series as well, and the nickname All Around Granny spread like wildfire. With my new income and my monthly social security, I had more than enough. And I had long decided I wouldn't share another penny with those 3 families. My money was for me to use. Now, buying a tub of pain relief cream no longer meant listening to Trisha's snide remarks. A few days later, my email and social media accounts were suddenly flooded with messages from unfamiliar accounts. It was my 3 sons. They were using burner accounts to send me a barrage of videos of my grandkids. In the videos, the children were sobbing uncontrollably. "Grandma, please come back. We haven't had breakfast for 2 days. No one does the laundry. We're cold and hungry. Grandma, Mommy doesn't work anymore. Daddy says we're broke. Can you just lend us a little money? Grandma, please. Mom and Dad are always fighting now. They throw things, they scream. I'm scared. They say they're getting divorced." Looking at those innocent faces, I didn't waver one bit. I blocked all 3 accounts immediately and stopped responding. A few days later, an unfamiliar number called. Without thinking much, I answered. On the other end, it was Daniel. His voice choked, almost incoherent. "Mom, please don't do this to me. If you don't come back, my family will truly fall apart. I know I was wrong. You can yell at me, hit me, just please don't ignore me. Please come back, okay?" I slowly lowered the phone from my ear and replied to him as calmly as I would to a stranger. "I am no longer your mother." With that, I hung up and blocked the number without hesitation. I thought they would finally understand that I was resolute. To my surprise, just before Christmas, the 3 brothers, along with their wives and children, rushed to Pineberry. They arrived at my doorstep, beaming, with gifts in hand, wearing faces of family reunion. Trisha, for once, wasn't as stubborn as usual. She hung her head, her voice unusually soft. "Grace, please don't be angry anymore. I know I had a bad temper and spoke harshly before. But I didn't mean it. Please don't take it to heart. We're family. It's the holidays, let's not dwell on it." Rachel added, "Grace, young people sometimes don't know any better and say the wrong things, but deep down they appreciate you. We all know how hard you've worked for this family your whole life. Please give us a chance." Nicole, even more dramatically, grabbed my arm, tears welling in her eyes. "Dear Grace, you don't know how much I've regretted these past few days. It's not that I didn't want to come, I truly couldn't get away. But I really wanted to apologize to you in person. Please, come back with us for the holidays, okay?" My 3 sons stood straight, each more respectful than the last. The grandchildren swarmed around, looking at me with pleading eyes. "Grandma, it's too cold here. Please come back home. I miss your cooking, Grandma, and how you used to walk me to school. Please, we want you to come home. Please." I looked at them, the tears, the apologies, the children's pleas, each more moving than the last. But I knew perfectly well, these people weren't truly remorseful. They just wanted me to come back and continue being their tireless, uncomplaining, unpaid nanny. I pulled my hand free from Nicole's tight grip, my voice as cold as ice. "I have cut ties with all of you. Even if you knelt and begged me, I would not go back. And I will not forgive you." Mark's face filled with shock. "Mom, why are you being so absolute? You're our mom. Is it really necessary?" I stared at him, expressionless. "I don't know your lives and I don't want to know. But my life now is very good." The expressions on the 3 couples' faces instantly froze. Astonishment, anger, and unease intertwined, but they didn't dare say another word. However, they didn't give up. 2 days later, they started seeking out the town's priest, the supermarket cashier, and even Mayor Hawkins. Anyone I knew, they tried to enlist to plead their case. But no matter what they said or who tried to persuade me, I had only one reply. "I don't even care about my own sons anymore. What do you think my daughters-in-law could possibly offer me?" After my statement spread, the entire town understood my unwavering resolve. Perhaps it was at that moment that my 3 sons finally realized they had lost me. As I was about to close the door, Zach suddenly crouched down and hugged my legs. He lowered his head, gently stroking my knee like a child on the verge of breaking down, choking out, "Mom, I know you're hurt. I know I messed up. But I'm stuck in the middle and it's been so hard. Can you just, please, let it go?" I looked down at him, only a deep sense of disappointment remaining in my heart. "I worked tirelessly to raise you," I said calmly but firmly, "to put you through college, help you buy a house, teach you how to be a responsible husband. But all of it was not so that I would have to suffer to earn your current conflicted attitude." He silently hung his head, repeatedly apologizing. But my heart was already like still water, completely undisturbed. Trisha, standing nearby, was tearful, her voice tinged with panic. "Grace, ever since you left, the house has been in complete chaos. Taking care of the kids by myself is truly exhausting. I beg you, please come home and help us." I scoffed, retorting, "You're exhausted taking care of one child? I used to take care of 3 children, cook, do laundry, clean, and work at night delivering newspapers. Do you think I wasn't exhausted?" Trisha was speechless for a moment, then awkwardly explained, "I didn't mean it like that, please don't misunderstand." I didn't bother to engage with them further. I turned and firmly locked the door. Outside, heavy snowflakes were falling and the wind blew as cold as a knife. They knocked, called my name and pleaded with me, but I remained utterly unmoved. That night I slept more soundly than I had in years. The next morning my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. I opened my social media and instantly understood why. My 3 daughters-in-law had filmed last night's scene and uploaded it online. In the video they stood at my front door in thin clothes, shivering and crying in the snow, looking utterly miserable. The caption read, "Came home to apologize but locked out by mother-in-law all night long. Is her heart truly so cruel?" They even deliberately left my social media handle with a pitiful message. "Because of a misunderstanding we brought the children to reconcile, but our mother-in-law mercilessly turned us away, saying she wanted to cut ties with us." The comments section exploded instantly. "The kids are innocent. Even if you have issues with your daughters-in-law, how can you be so heartless? What kind of evil mother-in-law is this? Her heart is too hard. If one daughter-in-law is a problem, maybe it's a coincidence, but all 3 are impossible? The problem might be with you." In just a few hours my follower count skyrocketed to over 100,000, almost all of them there to curse me. I however thought, good. So I immediately set my account to followers only can comment. Those trolls poured in like a tide, cursing me while following me, their comments flooding faster than a hurricane. I knew their aim: to use online pressure to force me to bow down, to morally blackmail me with public emotion. But they had miscalculated. I quickly released a long statement. "My relationship with my 3 daughters-in-law has officially ended. You may choose to forgive their malicious actions, but I do not accept their fake apologies and dramatic moral pressure. I don't live online, nor do I live for likes. I have my dignity." When that tactic didn't work, they escalated. They publicly slandered me on the platform, accusing me of mistreating the children, even fabricating rumors like, "I forced my grandkids to clean toilets, and I didn't feed them." The trolls grew in number and the traffic intensified. But I was ready. The day my follower count broke 1 million, I officially released a clarification video. In the video I laid out their chat logs, voice messages, payment screenshots, and even recordings of their arguments over $10 in the group chat. I even included examples of their past insults towards me, as well as the nanny bills and health insurance I had paid for their children. At the end of the video I looked into the camera and calmly asked, "I raised 3 sons. Now they and their wives demand that I continue to serve them like a servant. And when I refuse, they collectively launch a public attack against me. I ask you, do I not deserve basic respect?" The moment that video dropped, the likes instantly surpassed 1 million. The comments section began to fill with a massive wave of dissenting opinions. Turns out this old lady isn't someone to be messed with. I was so easily swayed at first. Absolutely shameless. Draining their mother-in-law dry and still not satisfied, then cursing her over $10? I would have cut them off ages ago. I hadn't expected it either, but all the performances and words they had used in front of me were dug up by netizens. Screenshot after screenshot flooded the comments section, and the overwhelming criticism caught them off guard. The 3 daughters-in-law became public enemies overnight. They were furious. They rushed to my doorstep, filmed themselves cursing me. "What do you think you are? You cut ties and really think you'll live long? You'll be lying in bed with no one to care for you sooner or later. Let's see how you die. After cursing, they turned and left. And then they genuinely disappeared. For 2 whole years there was no news. For the past 2 years, I'd become a genuine internet sensation, even putting our little town on the map. The mayor approached me saying, "You're the town's calling card now. Could you help us all with development?" I agreed. Not for the spotlight, but because I've never pitted myself, never relied on a man. I've always stood on my own 2 feet. I'd hauled cement, squatted on the side of the road selling hot dogs from a cart, and even taught myself fashion design. Now that I'm older, my spirit hasn't aged a day. I know that having the opportunity to help others build better lives is how I honor my age. I became the town's online personality, helping everyone with renovations, planting fruit trees, and setting up bed and breakfasts. Before long, tourists flocked in and everyone's income steadily improved. I even opened my own small clothing boutique, employing over a dozen women, each earning $5,000 a month. My life grew increasingly comfortable. Then one day Mark reappeared looking disheveled, standing in my yard. He said his company had laid him off and he wanted to start his own business, hoping I could help. "How do you want me to help?" I asked. "Mom, you're an entrepreneur now. $30,000 is nothing to you. It's a loan and I promise I'll pay you back," he said, his voice sincere. I scoffed. "Do you honestly think I'd lend money to a stranger who shows me no affection?" His face instantly fell and he roared, "I'm your son. You'd rather help strangers than me?" I looked him straight in the eye. "That's right." He fumed, yelled a few more words, and then slammed the door as he left. 2 years later, just before Christmas, I slipped on some ice and broke my leg, ending up in the hospital. To my surprise, all 3 of my sons and their wives showed up together. Trisha hovered, fetching water and fruit. Rachel, while draping a $2,000 mink coat over me, spoke sweetly, "Grace, you're a person of stature now. I wouldn't even spend this kind of money on myself." Nicole, not to be outdone, presented a pair of imported thermal shoes. "Mom, these are from Italy. Expensive but worth it." I smiled, but I knew perfectly well. They weren't there to see me, they were there to see my money. Before, when I was hospitalized with a high fever, not one of them showed up. Back then they'd often say over the phone, "She's not missing hands or feet. Why do we need to go?" Well, everyone seemed to have suddenly discovered I was a walking checkbook. I didn't give them a second glance, merely stating, "You really didn't need to go out of your way to visit. I haven't considered us to have any relationship for a long time." The smiles on everyone's faces froze. After a few seconds, Trisha said, "Grace, no matter what arguments we've had, we're still family, aren't we? Now that you're sick and need care, aren't we 3 the ones taking care of you?" Rachel nodded. "Exactly. Others can't be relied on. When it comes down to it, it's us 3 who are with you, feeding you, cleaning you, changing your sheets. Those neighbors just offer cold comfort." Nicole chimed in, "Grace, let bygones be bygones. From now on we'll take turns taking care of you, ensuring you're comfortable. You don't need to worry about those outsiders anymore." I nodded. "You all talk a good game. So you genuinely intend to take care of me?" All 3 said in unison, "Of course." I smiled. "Then it's simple. If you're sincere, then starting next month, each family will pay me $1,500 a month in support. Consider it a token of your sincerity." After a few seconds of silence, the air in the room grew tense. The color drained from all 3 faces almost simultaneously. Just then the doorbell rang. My neighbor, Laura, entered with homemade chicken soup and a bag of groceries, followed by 2 of her friends, Ashley and Emma. As they helped me adjust my bedding, Laura said, "Grace, this pillow isn't soft enough. We'll get you a new one." Laura glanced at my 3 daughters-in-law, her voice low but every word cutting. "You finally showed up, did you? Heard the old lady still has some balance in her retirement account, so suddenly everyone remembers she's family?" Ashley retorted, "If she were bedridden, would any of you wash her, turn her, or clean her? We are her real family." Emma suddenly spoke up. "She doesn't owe us anything, but we owe her a thank you. She gave us trust and kindness, and of course we'll repay it. She's good to us not because she has to be, but because that's who she is. If you've never tried to be good to her, isn't it a bit late to be saying all this now?" My 3 daughters-in-law exchanged glances, then grabbed their bags and stormed out in a huff. After that, I settled comfortably into Emma's home. She insisted I take their sunny guest room, and her kids often came to play with me. I offered to hire a caregiver, but my old neighbors wouldn't hear of it. Emma even had handrails installed and non-slip rugs put down specifically for me. One time, Emma's mother-in-law Helen came to visit me. She smiled and said, "You've taught Emma so much, she's grateful and it makes me happy. The way she treats you, I know she'll treat me, her own mother-in-law, just as kindly in the future." Hearing that, my heart suddenly softened. Relationships, I realized, were never truly built on blood but on the heart. 2 years later, someone told me my 3 sons weren't doing so well. Their jobs were unstable and their family lives were a mess. They even sent relatives to try and reconcile with me, hoping I'd consider our family ties and take them back. I simply shook my head. My life, it finally belonged to me. The kitchen filled with the aroma of coffee, Emma's youngest daughter drawing on my lap, and the sunshine outside making me drowsy. What I wanted wasn't a mansion or a bulging bank account, but simply this: to be genuinely cared for, not for some inheritance but because I was worth it.